Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the Real Techniques Brush Cleansing Palette. Now this is a fairly new release from Real Techniques and I picked mine up for $14.99 at Ulta. This is the packaging right here that it comes in. It does look nice, it's kind of eye-catching, and then on the back it does give you some tips and tricks on how to use it. And then it also does say that there's an online tutorial on how to use the palette best. So in the box you get your actual brush cleansing palette, and then they also give you 2 foil packets of the Real Techniques brush cleansing gel, which is also a fairly new addition to their line. You can pick that up in a bottle also. But I did use the foil packets of the gel, and I will say that right off the bat I just don't feel like that gel is really great for cleansing my brushes. I don't feel like it got it very clean, and I ended up having to go in with my Dr. Bronner's Castile soap. You can get that at Target. And whenever I cleaned my brushes after cleaning with the Real Techniques gel, I still noticed more makeup coming out whenever I used the Dr. Bronner's. So I don't really feel like the gel worked very well for cleansing. So you might keep that in mind, that you will want to still use your favorite brush cleanser with this. It is a smaller sized palette compared to the more full sink matte version that Sigma offers. And the Sigma one is about $30, I believe, so this is half the price, which does, I guess, justify the smaller size. And it does actually have a little handle here on the back. You're supposed to hold it like that with your fingers in here and hold it under the sink like this while you swab your brushes in here to clean it. They do say that once you are done washing, you can rest your brushes on the edges of it like this to dry. However, I don't feel like that works very well because it does tend to leave your brushes on a downward angle where the water can drip down into the ferrule, and then it causes your bristles to eventually loosen as the glue disintegrates from repeated water exposure. So I would not suggest using it in that way like they suggest, because you can get some damage to your brushes going on. So what I did notice whenever using this is that sometimes whenever I had used a heavier, more full coverage foundation and I'm cleaning out my brush with it, I would see little deposits of foundation residue on the bottom of this, like the actual non-textured parts in between all the little crevices, and I could not get it off with just regular soap, and I was thinking it was going to be kind of ruined and gunked up. But I did figure out that if I used a cleansing oil and just squirted some into here and then use one of these little manicure brushes and just kind of take this and really scrub in there, you're able to get it clean. So it does look brand new after that, but keep in mind that it might build up some residue and you'll have to have one of these on hand to really get in there and clean it. Moving on to the actual sections of the palette itself, you do have 3 sections, and all 3 of these sections are differently textured for different sizes of brushes. Now, your large bubbly section right here is supposed to be for cleansing large face brushes such as a powder brush, and then you have this medium section that is more for your smaller precision face brushes, and then you have this tiny little pin dot one that is for your eye brushes. Now, I will say that I do like that they included different sections on it to clean different brushes. I know that the Sigma one has a lot of different regions on it to help with cleansing different types of brushes, and that's great. But I don't feel like the regions that they included on here are very good. Like the big bubbly part, it doesn't clean my large brushes at all. I can't get any cleansing from it. I mean, a little bit comes out, but then you look at the actual brush and it's still dirty, even whenever I use the Dr. Bronner's soap, which I actually do like. So, I mean, it's just not enough to get down in the bristles of it. And the same goes for the tiny dot eye brush section. It's not enough to get it going up into the bristles to clean your eye brushes, especially whenever you have dark colors in there. It's just very difficult. The only section on this mat that I feel like really does anything is the middle section that has little T's on it. It's the only one that has enough texture and enough height and enough density to really allow the soap to climb up into your brush and clean the bristles really well. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm only getting 1/3 use out of this palette. I wish that they would have just taken this section and made it the whole palette, because the other sections just aren't good enough to really clean the brushes that they intend to. So for the price of $15, I would not purchase this again. I feel like if I were to purchase this now, knowing what I know, I would expect the price to be like $5 to $7. So because of that, I do wish that they had taken into account what's really going to work in a palette this size in terms of cleansing your brushes. I kind of wish that the whole palette was just this middle section, just all over it. That way at least I could feel like I could really like scrub all over it with my brushes and get a good cleanse. But overall, I think for $14.99 at pretty much half the price of the Sigma one, I wish that it was a little bit better. I feel like this is an okay palette if you were to be traveling and you want to still be able to clean your brushes while you're traveling. I feel like this would be okay to have, but whether you feel like paying $15 for a travel brush cleansing palette is completely up to you. That's a decision that you have to make to see if it's worth it for you for that reason. But at the same time, the Sigma one can be rolled up and would take up probably as much space as this. So while I don't own the Sigma one, I'm definitely considering getting that one now, because I really thought that I could get away with just having this one and not the Sigma one. Now, after testing this for a couple weeks, I just don't feel like that's going to happen. I just, the Sigma one is going to be the one to have. This one is not that great. I don't recommend it. For the price that this palette is, I don't feel like it's worth the $15, and I feel like you should just probably invest in the Sigma one. I've heard great things about it. I'm definitely going to be looking into purchasing one myself. But if you're looking for a good travel brush cleansing palette, I mean, maybe this is the way to go for you. Overall, it's kind of a flop. I don't suggest it. I hope I was able to save you $15 if you were thinking of purchasing this, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye. Bristles. How many times am I going to say bristles? It's not working for me.